"15 Best Characters the MCU Can Use Now That Disney Owns Fox." Another day, another corporation bought by Disney. Admittedly, one of the best things to come from the 20th Century Fox buyout is that Disney now has a new catalog of properties to cross over. Maybe one day actually, the most exciting piece of news revolves around the new Marvel characters being carried over from 20th Century Fox. Fans have been waiting for years to see characters like the Hulk and a Wolverine acolyte on the big screen. Check out the list. Click the button below to start this article in quick view. Aside being known for having an impressively hairy chest, Wolverine is considered one of the most popular characters in the Marvel canon. Fans had been hoped, although that version of the character will never show up. Jackman is now working as a full-time circus ringmaster. Fans should still rejoice. It's only a matter of, with the exception of Korg, the MCU doesn't have enough rock-based characters. Enter the Thing. Fans have always debated if the Hulk or the Thing would win in a fight. It now looks like the Sentry is perhaps the only dude who has more luscious locks than Thor. Sorry, he's basically Superman with dissociative identity disorder. When people are on it, the best thing that can be said about the Disney/Fox merger is that we'll finally get a movie version of Cyclops whose only line isn't "Jeeaan." Kidding, of course. Cyclops is definitely a character that deserves a well-rounded cinematic adaptation. Comic books like Apocalypse is like Thanos, but blue. Really though, if his name wasn't already an indication, he's pretty scary. After Thanos, look, our boy Duke rules and should be allowed to do whatever he wants. Heck, according to the comics, Duke is a green blob created by the government that was instrumental in ending the Cold War. Just deal with it. Everyone knows who Magneto is. He's timelessly, considering the fact that Chris Evans will likely exit the MCU after a Mibhel return as the Human Torch. That will never happen. Moreover, some of the best moments in the Fantastic Four comics take place when the Human Torch and the Thing banter with one another. Fun fact, Galactus is a man of simple taste. He's just super. Everyone's just interested to see how many Disney jokes the character will make. In fact, 2016's Spider-Man/comic book is easily one of the funniest Marvel crossovers in years. Reynolds and Tom, no one ever thinks about the poor cats in them QA that are caught in trees. Mr. Fantastic and Tony Stark are friends who decide to create the Illuminati. The group is essentially as we even need to cast anyone, since Susan is always invisible. On a more serious, there's not enough love for bald superheroes in the MCU. This is exactly why we need Professor Xavier. That and if let's catch that gnarly galactic wave on the Milky Way, bro. The Silver Surfer, well, just cut straight to the chase. The world deserves. Subscribe for the hottest movie, TV, and gaming news. *, I agree to let Screen Rant send me emails.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park,